What's up, everybody? Welcome to the House of Mario, episode 63, and we are the Nintendo podcast, the part of the Epic Collective. I'm your host, Drew Agnew, and joining me as always is my best buddy, Bryce DeWitt.
That's me.
That's you. This week on the show, we're going to be talking about the new Xenoblade 2 expansion, as well as a couple of indie games I've been playing. But Bryce, how's your week been, buddy?
What a way to start it. I'm just going to go with okay and leave it at that.
Leave it at that?
Yep. That's fair enough.
This weekend you've been playing a fair bit of Xenoblade Chronicles, Torna of the... What's it called?
Golden Country.
Of the Golden Country. It just escaped my mind for a second. I haven't played it, so this is all up to you, buddy.
All right, cool. So I'll talk about it in a little bit of detail, and later on down the line, maybe end of this month, maybe a little bit into next month, you'll hear more about it when I've actually had the time to completely flesh it. Mm-hmm. And you'll probably hear it with a special guest, which, if you pay attention to Twitter, you'll know who that is. If not, don't tell. If you already know, don't tell people. All right.
It's a secret, is it?
It's a secret. It's a secret. I think. Yeah, we'll roll with that.
You think? All right, that's good.
I think we'll roll with that. So, something I've been excited about, and everybody knows that I've been excited about, is Torna of the Golden Country. Torna the Golden Country. So, that is the add-on, the last DLC for Xenoblade Chronicles 2. After an absolute slew of, quest introductions into the expansion pass and the challenge mode and, like, all the nice things we've been getting each month with it. Just to sort of tear it off, I'm glad I spent the $45. I haven't finished Torna yet, but... more into it in a second, but overall, if you're really into Xenoblade Chronicles 2, I feel like there's almost no reason for you to not pick it up.
Just to paint the picture, how many hours have you put into it already?
In Xenoblade?
No, the expansion.
Oh, Torna? About 10.
Oh, about 10. All right, so that's a good effort, yeah.
Good chunk, chunk, yeah.
So you said it's about 20 hours, people were saying online, so... Would you say roughly halfway?
20 hours to the main story. You know what? It's hard to gauge whether I'm halfway or not
because are you doing side quests and stuff like that as you go?
The game sort of forces you to do side quests.
Yep.
So a little bit of tap off. I'll introduce it because my discussion with it, obviously that I've just spoken about, that's going to be happening later, is going to be whether you've played it or not.
So that's going to be a spoiler cast.
That's pretty much going to be a spoiler cast,
So just basically talk about it in non-spoiler. So if someone's interested in this,
playing it, yeah,
who hasn't necessarily played Xenoblade 2 or is thinking about it, should they pick this up?
Yeah, absolutely. So the interesting thing about this expansion in general is that I think I'd like to say probably about 4 days away from now, it's getting its own physical release, and it'll be standalone playable.
Mm.
So, a bit strange, one would think. But if you want a cheaper dip into Xenoblade, it's a good way to go.
Yeah, like PlayStation's been doing a lot of their sort of standalone DLC as well.
Even just like stuff like Metal Gear Solid, when they had Ground Zeroes and stuff like that.
Mm.
It's the same sort of vein of thing, right? It just so happens that it's come further down the line before the game's actually already been released and stuff like that.
Yeah, about 10 months later. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So if you've already played Xenoblade 2 and you've already absorbed yourself into the lore, you already know what's going to happen with this DLC. It's the telling of the story that sort of culminates to why Xenoblade 2 is happening.
Mm-hmm.
So about a country, the country of Torna. So it's been really interesting so far because one, it touches on characters that have minimal screen time, that you want to know more about, but it also has characters in it that you're already familiar with and you're learning about them.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting from that perspective. You know, a specific blade, which I'm not going to mention here, has a completely different Well, I'd like to say a completely different personality, but more or less, they are a little more childish and less self-aware of what they are and stuff like that, and it kind of just brings a little bit of interest to it as to how their personality changed because of the events that have been happening in Torna.
Mm-hmm.
So Torna's been pretty good so far. It completely changes up the combat system. Well, I say it completely changes it, but it's relatively the same, except they've added in a mechanic which changes up how you play it pretty big. And that's the ability to swap out your drivers with your blades. So instead of having a driver with 3 blades and you switch between those 3 blades, you have a driver and 2 blades. You only get set blades and set characters throughout the whole expansion. There's no additional blades or anything like that. But instead of swapping out the blades, you swap out your driver with your blades, and you use the blades as characters.
Yep.
So that's the first time that blades are playable. They weren't a playable thing in the original game. Obviously, they were just kind of what you had as your moveset. So that's added some really interesting mechanics into how they deal with status effects like break, topple, launch, smash, all that stuff, because it's all sort of tied in with how you use the flow of combat now. Before, it used to be very exclusively set on like what blade knows how to do what.
Yep.
So looking at it from that perspective, it's refreshing, and it's a new way to play, and it's a new system for you to learn. If you've already spent the 200 odd hours in Xenoblade like I have, you already know how every mechanic works, and it's just sort of a refresh change up of how to play the game, and it's really a lot of fun. A lot of Torna has been, poking at what's going on in the world at that point in time, because when you're told about it in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, you're only told of like the result and how it came to be, sort of thing, but you never really touched on why that mattered or why these characters were brought to the situation that they've been brought into.
Yep.
So meeting all these characters is like it's absolutely fantastic. You get more backstory on characters that were existent at that time, but also existent in 2. You get insight into characters like Adam. Adam is talked about widely in Xenoblade Chronicles 2. He's known as the hero, essentially, of that era. And Adam is a really cool character. I really like him. And you can see why people hold him in such high regard, and it's just a joy to sort of watch the exchanges that you get with some people and Adam's just such he's a pretty generous guy, and he kind of just fleshes out that story a whole of a lot more just knowing who he is.
Yeah.
It's relatively small in terms of area space. Obviously, you had a lot of areas to explore in Xenoblade Chronicles 2. You only have 2 titans to explore in Torna. But one of them is a titan you've already seen before, and the other is Torna.
Yeah.
So the titan you've already seen before, it's cool to see how the area's changed as time has, gone on. You've obviously seen the area in Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Has the area changed much, or have they just sort of recycled it a bit?
No, a bit of it is recycled, and I'll give it that much. If you did too much to it, then it'd be completely unrecognizable.
Yeah.
But in saying that, villages are only just starting to develop. And some of the areas there hasn't been any clearance, so there's a lot more flora and fauna just everywhere, and
okay, that's pretty cool. All the trees are smaller.
Trees are smaller. There's still giant roots from trees that were there before that, you know, they've cleared out in Xenoblade Chronicles 2 by that point, and you know, there's a bit of a limitation on where you can go in terms of like how the fauna has acted and sort of blocked your path and all that. But overall, I'm not sure how much the physical copy is worth, like the standalone copy. There's also a digital standalone.
Okay, yep.
I'm not sure how much that costs, but like, you know, if you're paying $30 for Torna, it's worth the money. It's a really good taste in playing something Xenoblade without soaking up too much time.
So it is a good standalone story for someone who doesn't want to...
Well, yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Like, the thing is like, the story is so interchangeable because you learn about it all through Xenoblade 2 anyway. Going, like, regressing back to the past and playing the past, which is Torna, it's 500 years set in the past. Playing it, you learn about it. When you see it in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, you're just like, I know what happened. There's no shock twist or anything. You know exactly what happens when the story sort of slowly picks up in 2. It's overall sort of a taste tester into what you could be playing in 2 for a cheaper price. For people that have played it, they get to learn more about the people that's so highly talked about in the past, obviously. And overall, it's just, you know, combine that with all the stuff that we've already been given through the expansion pass. It's just, for $45, you can't really go wrong.
Yep. So that seems like a pretty decent price for all the stuff you got previously, let alone this 20-hour expansion.
Yeah, for sure. And like, obviously, like I said, I'm not sure about the physical price, but if it's only $30, considering that the expansion pass is $45, if it's only $30 and you're getting a 20-hour experience out of it just from the story alone, whereas Xenoblade 2 is probably about $80.
Yeah. So someone like me, like I only just started up the game, did the tutorial, and sort of got out the first area. Would you, like, if I picked up the expansion pass, would you recommend me go and play this and then get back into the base game?
I mean, you wouldn't have an issue, really.
Wouldn't have an issue?
No.
Or if someone was interested in going and playing this first, then the full game, would you recommend that, or do you think you need a bit more context from what happened to go back to this?
No, it doesn't really make a difference in my opinion, because like when you go through Xenoblade Chronicles 2, you learn a particular character's motives or whatever anyway, but he's already sort of just an asshole.
Yep.
In 2 to begin with, but like in Torna you'll learn why he's a particular asshole, but you also learn that in 2 anyway. Not a big deal. It doesn't matter what timeline you learn that in, whether you learn it from Torna and then you learn it to 2, his motive is not the point.
Yeah.
You know, it's sort of just the precursor to like how such a like terrible destruction could have happened or whatever to Torna, because that's what it's about. You know, Torna's not a visitable place in 2, so talks about what happens with Torna. Torna is spoken about in the early enough portions of the game because the bad guys in 2 introduce themselves as Torna.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But Torna is actually sort of throwing back to something that's a little more important than what it is, and you hear about it by like chapter 2 or 3 of Xenoblade 2. So, you know, it's more just a precursor and more information about what happened, and meeting characters that you don't meet in 2, which are pretty important to the overall lore, which is good.
Yeah.
You know, if you're getting into it, then, you know, Xenoblade 2 had to happen for a reason. So, you know that something's hidden there in Torna that you've got to deal with, and it just culminates to lead up to Xenoblade 2.
Yeah, so you've still got about 10 hours or more to go yet, so...
Well, yeah, I would say... From what I gather, there's about 18 to 20 hours worth of story content, and then there's 20 hours of dicking around. So,
of dicking around, yeah.
You know, 40 hours, which, you know, some people didn't even spend more than the time that they spent on the story in 2. Overall, my 10 hours experience so far, really good. I enjoy it a lot. It doesn't matter whether you're a newcomer, veteran. It just adds more to the plot of 2, but not in a damaging enough way that you can play them in any order, and you'll still get the context of it anyway.
Yeah.
You just learn who characters are a little more earlier, and you learn what kind of people you should trust and what people you shouldn't. And that's fine. You can take it in any order, and I don't see it ruining the story in any way.
Yeah, like hearing you speak about this, I'm like, oh, I really want to go and play Xenoblade, but I will get there eventually. I've bought it. I'm half the way there. Spent my $80, so I have to justify it and actually play it.
Yeah.
This weekend I've been playing a few Switch games. I tried out the new update for Splatoon 2. I didn't really try the new weapons necessarily, but because I'm sort of just like with Splatoon, I found the NZAP. I sort of just stick to that. I don't try a whole lot of weapons. I will, but at the moment I'm just playing with the same gun. But I've versed a couple of the new weapons. I don't know what they're called. I haven't gone and looked at them. But there's basically a bucket where they throw it and all these bubbles just like fire out down the stage.
Yep.
Is that a new one? I don't feel like I've seen it before.
No, the only bubble related weapon I can think of is the special. So yeah, I guess it's new. Like
I didn't use it, but just having your opponents throwing it at you and it's coming towards you, it makes you have to get out the way. It's a real pain in the butt. I don't know how strong it is if I were to use it. But yeah, I don't have much more to say about Splatoon, but a lot of fun. It was funny because people were thinking, like, we actually brought it up as well, but in the direct where they had the 100 times, like a lot of people were like, is this a battle royale game? It's like, I think if they were doing a battle royale, they'd make a lot more of a big deal out of it.
Yeah.
So that would be fun though.
Well, I'm not too sure what's going to happen with it, and like obviously it's actually coming to the tough end of the year, like where anything that you could put in a battle royale, I'm not sure I want Splatoon to go down that route. It'd have way too much competition.
Yeah, well, the stages aren't built for anything like that.
Absolutely not. No.
And like even if you wanted to do like a solo, whatever, like they're not even built for that. They're built for teams all starting on either end.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely. Yeah.
Like when I was like, I think it's like splatting people is such a satisfying thing, and having no mode that's based on maybe like trying to get splats or kills or whatever you want to call it. I feel like that is a missed opportunity. I would like to see that, but at the same time, I know they're not going to do it because Nintendo's. I think they're quite proud of how different
they've handled it.
Yeah, how different Splatoon is.
Yeah,
which I respect that, so that's cool.
Yeah, well,
and
absolutely.
Having all the unique modes in there is fine anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
I played about probably 40 minutes of a game called Mini Metro. This game was provided by the developer, just to let you guys know. But this game's been on iOS and I can't say Android for sure, but I'm sure it's been there for probably a year. I saw this sort of shown off by the devs at PAX last year, and basically it's really simple. It's got little shapes. It's got circles, triangles, rectangles, and they all represent train stations. And you've got to try and link them up and put trains on certain tracks. And the aim of the game is not to get congested and move like traffic, right, and move people from station to station. And if there's too many people built up on one station, it's game over. And I sort of I was playing and I didn't really have much of an idea what I was doing. But the way it introduces you to the game, I thought was really smart. It just comes up with a triangle on the screen, then next to it pops up a circle, and then you're like looking at it, you're like, huh. So you click on it, you link them up, and the train starts going like between each one. You're like, oh, then another shape pops up, and it just eases you in like that, and just slowly more stuff starts coming up.
So that's really cool.
Yeah. Like it's not like, hey, welcome to the game.
Here is tutorial.
Yeah, the tutorial was really smart.
Yeah.
And like, when it got to the part where it got to be a bit more complex, I was like, all right, I'm kind of like, I was pretty tired. It was it Sunday night, and I'm like, I can't learn something new at the moment.
Yeah.
Because I was just playing Splatoon and whatever that day. But no, that's I'm keen to go back to that. And I tried it on docked mode, so I didn't actually get to try the touch controls. Obviously, being a mobile game first, I dare say if you put it in handheld mode and use the touchscreen controls, it would be a lot easier.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And the game I really want to talk about, this was a game that caught my eye a couple of weeks ago on the Coming Soon section of the eShop. It's a game called Old School Musical.
I did see that, yeah.
You saw it?
Mm-hmm.
It's a rhythm game where you use the input of the buttons on the Switch and also the shoulder buttons. No touchscreen controls, which I'm happy about, because a lot of the touchscreen rhythm games on the Switch I haven't been that impressed by. Like, I absolutely love rhythm games. On the Vita, I really like the Hatsumiku Diva F games and Persona Dancing All Night.
Mm-hmm.
They've got really nice poppy songs. The mechanics are really fun, and so this is probably the first game on the Switch that's actually really
sort of touched that.
Touched that. And I looked at a bit of a Let's Play on YouTube from someone who had early access to it, and it looks cool. It had the background. Sorry, I'll go back. So basically, there's a story mode where you're following these two little block characters. There's a short one and there's a long one. Their names are Rob and I think it's Tib. And the two brothers, and the story goes through like their mother was a piece of crap, and eventually...
Oh.
Well, no, she was. I'm not going to spoil anything, but it turns out a reason why. And basically they get access to a key that can take them through all these different worlds. So the first one starts off in a world that looks a lot like Pokemon, and you're going through that, and it's actually got a section that puts you in like a Pokemon battle and whatever, and as you're playing the rhythm game, all this stuff's going on in the background. Mm-hmm. So it's like a lot of these rhythm games, like there's some awesome looking stuff in the background, but you can't see it while you're playing because you're concentrating on just doing your inputs and your timing.
Yeah.
So after the Pokemon one, you go to a level that looks like a lot like Mega Man. And then you go to one that looks like a lot like Ninja Turtles, and you just keep going through these worlds, and it's really cool just seeing all these different worlds sort of being parodied in this game.
Yeah, yep.
And yeah, the story really blew me away. Like it's a really stupid and silly story. It's just so much fun to play through. It takes about 3 hours. Like, it's nice and short. Once you finish the story mode, you've unlocked all the songs, and you get access to a mode at the end. I'll have to bring it up to remember what that mode was. What was it called? It's called Chicken Republic.
Chicken Republic.
So basically, in the game, there's a world where there was a world where you're basically tracking down the hero who's broken all these pots and killed all these chickens.
Oh God!
It's like, who could that be? and you end up going to a world where it's run by the chickens who have escaped this character, and. Like, I can't remember the exact reasoning why you have to go and find the king to kill him, but you end up killing him. And at the end of the game, it skips to it skips to the king, and when you beat the game, it says, oh well, there was actually a lot between looking for the king and like finding him. So there's this little section where you've got to go through the songs again and go on their journey from this section to that section.
Yeah.
And also, like doing the songs harder, so there's replay value there. And it was only $20. Like, I feel like
it's not bad.
It's definitely recommended from me. I absolutely loved it, and it's got so much charm, so much personality, and I recommend it a lot. And last of all, I know this isn't a new game, but Yoku's Island Express. I didn't actually play this. I played the demo a long time ago, and I'm like, this game is awesome. I've got plenty of 2D games to finish or start even, but it's on sale until the 20th this month for, was it $16.95 or something like that?
Yep. So
it's 40% off. So I'm like, well, I may as well get it now. Like, playing the demo was so much fun. It really actually blew me away of how much fun it was.
How good it was, yeah.
Yeah, like your little bug just like moving a ball, and you can control little bits in the little pinball levers in the world, and it's sort of like a Metroidvania, and you go around that.
Gotcha.
I'm sure a few of you guys out there actually have played it and finished it. I know Eric was a big
fan of it.
Yeah, big fan of it. Yeah, just lost my words. So yeah, I think that's all the games I was playing. Oh, I played some more Mario Tennis.
Did you? Surprisingly?
I hadn't played much of this at all.
No.
Like we did our episode, and I sort of like Dash was saying, are we going to remember this game? I did not.
No. Yeah.
I've been playing Splatoon, Mario Kart, but I have not been playing much Mario Tennis.
There's so much other stuff you could play, but yeah, continue.
Yeah, played a bit of the story. I did a couple of levels in that. I was like, I'm kind of not in the mood for this. So I did a cup. Played through the cup. Had a lot of fun. I don't know how people do those big curve shots. Like I learned how to do the slices, the lobs, spin balls.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're pretty simple. It shows you how to do that in the controls menu. But how do you do those big curves?
Big curves. There's a button input for it.
Yeah, I'm sure there is.
I just can't remember.
I've got to get better so we can verse Buddy.
Yeah,
we can take down Buddy, but Buddy, I did notice in my friends list you put like 40 so hours into Mario Tennis. Jesus. Because I put about 60 something into Mario Kart, so that's not that much behind my Mario Kart.
Yeah, Mario Kart's been out far longer. So
yeah,
just thinking of it from that perspective, like you must have had a good go at it, buddy. Honestly, yeah, I don't know. It's really hard for me to go. There's so much on the Switch right now that I got to play, and Mario Tennis is not at the top of the list. And that's sad because to a degree I was looking forward to it, but it feels a little bit dry. It feels like they left out a lot they could have put in.
Well, I just wanted something like I wanted Splatoon, I wanted Mario Kart, I wanted Mario Tennis on the weekend just to pick up and play easily.
Mm-hmm.
I think if like personally, I'm just going to ignore the story. I couldn't give a crap about the story. Like it's not really what we wanted.
No,
unfortunately, because it looked really good to start off with when they were showing it off, didn't they?
Yeah.
And for the most part, if Nintendo's showing off a game that looks good, it generally is pretty good once it comes out.
But so far the story's been kind of
yeah, you can take it or you can leave it. Really, like I haven't got to the parts where it's really frustrating.
Nah, not really.
Yeah, I know. Like a lot of people have gotten to like some bosses where it's like I can't do this.
Yeah, this is fucking annoying. Yeah.
And I guess I've been playing Dead Cells still as well. I'm treating that as like a pick up and high score type of game.
Yep.
I'm not going to try and beat it necessarily. I'm not going to view it as I've got to finish this because I'll be there for ages just trying to. At the moment, I'm just trying to get my third potion.
Yep.
So I'm just chipping away at that gradually, spending all my Dead Cells on that.
So you've got so many retail games you need to finish too, though.
Yeah, I've got heaps.
And I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I do too. But you've probably got more than I do.
Yeah, no, I probably do. Like I've got Xenoblade, I've got
Octopath,
Mario Plus Rabbids. I haven't finished that story yet. I'm just looking through my Switch now. Like that's probably it as far as retail goes, to be honest. Those three, but I've got a fair few like indie platformers and stuff to finish as well. So,
right.
Like just with backlog, I just look at it as just like don't let it become a second job. just let it go. If you don't feel like playing bloody I don't know Xenoblade, don't play Xenoblade.
Yeah.
You've bought it, yes, but maybe in the future make some more smart purchasing decisions.
Well, you know.
But also with games like Xenoblade, I wanted to support that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Like it did sell well. It sold 1 million in the first, probably by the end of the year. It sold 1 million fairly quickly.
Yeah,
like
which is great. Yeah,
it wasn't a sleeper hit by any stretch of imagination.
No. Well, like it's got to lend that. It's got to lend that to its like predecessor a fair lot. Its predecessor, Xenoblade Chronicles 1, obviously. That game was it was like out of nowhere. It was a cult classic. It become like a massive hit. But that game was in a state of like you could only pre-order it and get it here. You couldn't do it without pre-ordering.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's the only way you could get your hands on Xenoblade Chronicles 1. Nobody stocked it.
Yeah, I know. Like I know in America it was especially hard because that come out months after we got it here, even because Nintendo of America wasn't interested in publishing it.
Yeah.
Until like they had that really that campaign online where they wanted the 3 JRPGs to come over. Was it Xenoblade Chronicles? Was that Last Story and
Pandora's Tower?
Pandora's Tower, yeah.
Yeah.
So eventually they got those published in America, but it's really weird. Xenoblade Chronicles. That's a first party Nintendo game. That's
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's such a big deal, really.
Yeah.
Honestly, and I mean, obviously, and people know this. I'm juggling 2 of those games at the moment. I'm juggling Torna, and I'm also juggling X as well. I'm almost at the end of X. I'm like at the shreds end of X. I'm so close. I'm maybe about 3 chapters off, which is not much in the perspective of things. Like, that's all I got to say about that.
How long is each chapter? Like 20 hours?
No, it's actually not very long.
Okay.
Provided you do everything in order, it's actually really short, and you don't have to worry about it too much. And you, like, as long as you know what you're doing with soul voices and what soul voices to put to what people, I'm sure you can make an absolute, like, thrash heap out of it.
Yep.
Like, the difference between, like, the 1 and 2, like, the numerical games and X is that X is hyper customizable. There's a lot you can do to change the outcome of your party. You know, you've got individual classes which will give you specific arts. You can change your class at any time. You can use arts from any class that you've unlocked on different classes. Like, it's a massive, you know, people speedrun that game in 4 hours, but, you know, I've spent 60. You know, 4 hours? 4 hours.
Explain as fast as you can. How does that happen? Is that hack? Is that
no.
Not hack? Sorry, is that glitch, or is that just playing the game? Is that
just playing the game?
Is it like the equivalent of playing Zelda and going straight to Ganon and beating him and doing it in 3 hours or whatever that might take you?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. So it's open, that type of open
it's
world.
It's literally like, if you know your shit, you can get through that game really quickly.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Right. The thing is like you can. And, like, without you know, making it seem like a trivial matter, because it's absolutely not, you go onto YouTube, and Xenoblade Chronicles X had, like, a massive garb on trying to be a multiplayer game, which in its own right is impressive to a degree, you know? Like, there was ways to play multiplayer with it, and you could play with large groups, like, I'm talking 24 players. And there's videos of people on YouTube going into, like, a max player boss, and they can't kill it. It's physically not possible. But with the right class setup, you can keep yourself alive as a single person and just, like, do a shit ton of damage and go all the way until the timer runs out with no issue. Right? You won't die.
All right.
It's just people setting up their classes correctly. So if you go out in the field, you kill the right things and get your XP up, and then get the right arts that you need to make an overpowered class, and then run with that class, you can finish that class off. You've got everything you need, and then you can just bolt forward and you can destroy everything. You just need to know what you're doing. But obviously I'm more interested in seeing what I can do by myself first, so I've let that go. And I'm very interested in exploring the world. Like, I've just got my first flying skell, which is, like, the biggest... In saying that, it's 60 hours in. It's like 60 hours in. I've just got my first flying skell.
Yeah.
And that was a main grab for that game.
Yeah. Does that make you feel, like, really accomplished? Like, how long and hard it is to earn that thing? Does it make... Like, once you get it, you're like, yes!
That game makes you feel like that. And the reason for that is, like, just getting your first skell in general, which your first skell can only walk and attack and turn into a car, right?
A car. Ooh.
A car.
Nice. I like cars.
If you want to fast travel, right? And, like, skills are such a big deal. Like, it's just like, you have to get your skill license. You know, you have to do a bunch of missions to get your skill.
How old do you have to be to get your skill license?
Well, Lynn's got one. She's 13, so...
Oh, it's bullshit. It's like reverse America. You get your license.
As long as you beat a bunch of missions, they don't care. They'll give anybody a skill. It's like, here's a skill for killing 12 bugs, all right?
12 bugs?
12 bugs, delivering an item, picking up some items, helping somebody with a quest and like just little shit. Like there's like 8 missions.
See, in real life, I'd love to kill some bugs and just get your license.
Oh, that'd be nice.
How much cheaper would that be as well? You know?
Oh, so much cheaper.
Like personally, I really struggled with my driver's license test when I was doing my learning. So just having some bugs to kill would be just fantastic.
Step on a cockroach. Yes, I got my license.
Actually, to be fair, probably in that world, bugs are probably like twice the size of you.
Yeah, well, yeah.
so if I do the equivalents, I kill the bug. Oh, fine.
I'd say the 12 bugs I had to kill were the size of puppies, at most.
So 12 bugs the size of puppies. I don't know if I'd. Yeah, I don't know. It depends if they're spiders. Or if they're like lady beetles, about the size of your head. That's fine. You can like probably just drive over with them in your car, but you don't have your license yet, so you can't do that.
Well, you got guns.
Oh, you do have guns.
And you got swords. So
what? You get your gun before you get your skill license. It's ridiculous, dude. This game sounds bonkers.
But back to the original point. Getting your flying skill, you get your first skill 6 chapters in. Flying skill comes at 9. The game ends at 12 chapters. So getting to that 9 chapters and farming and doing all that work and like getting that flying skill, and it makes you feel accomplished when all of a sudden like this big world that you've been traversing on land at this entire point, and like it's so beautiful and the landscape is massive and there's no loading zones and the monsters are huge, and then all of a sudden you take flight and you start flying over all these areas and realize that there's almost another second world like above all the structures you couldn't get on before because you can fly now.
Yeah, that's awesome there.
Yeah, there's like monsters I never even knew existed.
Similar to Metroid, where you're like, oh, let's go back to this area. And
yeah.
Now you've got the right equipment.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's cool.
But like, the first mission it sends you on, it's like, oh, we couldn't get to this probe before, but now we have a flying skill, we can get to it, so you have to fly, right? And then like you go fly up into that area, and then you're just like, you know what, I'm going to circle around here a bit more, take a look, and you realize there's like an entire sky dragon you never knew existed that you can kill.
Yeah, I did see when they were doing the initial promotion for this game. I forgot what website it was, but there was a game journalist basically coming back reporting on his demo he played. So yeah, I played a demo about 100 hours into the game. I versed this big sky dragon in my mech, which he said at the time, which Nintendo told me I won't be getting until 80 hours into the game.
Yeah.
And it completely destroyed me. I had no idea what I was doing.
Exactly, yeah. So it's just like, just looking at it from that perspective, like you put the effort in, and you open up a whole portion of the world that you would have never knew existed if you didn't put that effort in. And like, I know that's a lot to ask for people that don't have the time to put into those games, but for the people that, you know, can sort of see themselves sitting down, like I can sometimes, I can dedicate myself to a really good JRPG, and you know, it's just a big thing, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, that's the kick I get out of them. It's the kick I get out of games, you know, doing something new, like finishing a game, putting that down, picking up a new one, going back and revisiting an old one and seeing something that I never thought would even be there. You know, it's about discovering the little things that.
Yeah, like sometimes I feel like playing a brand new game, but sometimes I just feel like going back to what I'm familiar with, whether it's it's an old Mario game or an old Pokemon game, just sort of like junk food, or not junk food, but sort of how you can just sort of binge it and be familiar with it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Like
with Xenoblade, like I like the Wii U version X. I never thought about buying it because I'm like, I just won't play it and finish it. I won't have the TV on I won't be in front of the TV for 100+ hours to dedicate to the one game.
No, yeah.
But with the Switch, I'm like, I will get to it eventually.
Yeah.
I will get to Xenoblade 2 eventually.
So that's why I hope X comes out for the console, though. That'd be really nice. Like, I even... For a long time, X just sort of sat there because, like, I was confused about how the systems work. It was my first Xenoblade game. You know, I wasn't too sure about how I was going to go about it, and I was just kind of lost, and I put it down for a while. I played Xenoblade 1, and I loved the crap out of it, and I said, right, I need to do X. Right? And slowly over the years, I've been trudging at X because I'm just like, I don't know how to approach this still. It's a bit different. But now that I've actually put down the time to it and played it, fantastic. But for a long time there, I did spend about 20 hours literally just on foot running around the world.
Just checking it out.
Because it was gorgeous. Yeah. Like, it's like an endless landscape of so much stuff.
Mm.
And only with the skill now do I realise that, man, I probably should have just aimed for this in the first place. But in saying that, like, there's enjoyment to be had just wandering around. Like, it's for the obviously Monolith. If you haven't known, I've said it before, but Monolith helped
with Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. It just shows, like, just looking at X, like, you play X and there's just all these really different, pretty environments and stuff like that. You see where Monolith really took hold and taught the Zelda team how to develop such a crazy open world with, like, no loading zones and all that stuff, you know. It's nuts. It's nuts. And even if you're just running around and it's such an incredible game.
Well, especially, like, we say it all the time, but especially on the Switch, like, you've got it in your pocket, and that's in your pocket. Like you put it next to something on PlayStation 4 or Xbox One, it might look a bit, you know, you can see the jaggy lines,
of course,
stuff like that. But like having it, being able to put it in handheld mode and everything, I think that's yeah. I don't know how many times we'll say that. We'll keep saying that about these big games too.
Yeah.
I dare say, like, so with Zelda, like, sometimes you look at it. Like, if you get the lighting just right when the sun's coming through the grass, it looks absolutely stunning.
It does.
But at night time, sometimes you're like, oh, I can see there's like 5 textures on screen right now.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's definitely worth going back and looking at those games, I think, is the moral of that story. You know, well, not just Xenoblade, but just in general, just, you know, if you think there's something more to a game, you really should just, you know, take a crack at it.
I feel like a lot of people feel out the same way we do too. Just like, if it's a too much of a time sink, when it comes out on PlayStation, you're like, oh, nah. But if it comes to Switch like a year later, you're like, oh, bugger it. I'll pick it up and I'll give it a go.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you can play it if you got a commute. You can do that. You can play it on the couch while your partner watches TV. Like, you don't have to really, like, for me to get on the PlayStation. Like, I found it with Spider-Man this week. Like, you've really got to dedicate yourself to go and do it. And it's one of the easiest things in the world to go and do. Turn on the TV. If you've got a Sony TV like me, when you turn on the PlayStation, the TV boots up with it. So you've only got to press the one button on the controller and sit down on your couch. Is that hard? No, it's not.
No,
but it's just a mental thing.
Yeah. It's just like if I want to put this game down, I hit one button.
Yeah.
You know, it's not. I have to find a place to save, and, you know, I have to stop at a decent point. You just press a button, and you're good to go. You're good to go later on. Yeah, that's the greatest thing about it. But anyway, yeah, I think our rambling's probably gone on long enough. Anyway.
But that.
Yeah. See, look, I can't talk today.
It's been a big weekend, and
it's been a big weekend and week, and, you know, with the direct going on, it's the calm before the storm with the online service.
Yeah.
I don't want to make judgments on it until it hits, which is a couple days from now. And we've also got other things going on this week. You know, Twitter, it's been announced already that we'll be on Dash Culture this week. So
we'll be on Dash Culture this week.
So if anybody didn't catch that announcement, we will see you guys. You know, Wednesday night we'll be doing the live show with them.
Yeah, and up on podcast services the next day, or when Dash gets around to editing it.
Exactly. Yeah, editing out.
All the fart noises I've got to edit every week. Dash is going to find out about that.
It's going to be on live streaming services. So.
yeah, you can't edit out the farts.
No. You have to put a filter on it that's just like a Peter Griffin laugh or something. It's like voice detected filter.
What'd be worse, a fart sound or just Peter Griffin in your headphones just doing that?
You know what? Yeah, probably.
Just do 50-50.
Yeah.
Half fart, half. Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah. So, yeah, that'll be good fun. So, yeah.
Catch us on Dash Culture this week, and expect a more fleshed out episode when online services go up and we can talk about it a bit more.
So next week's going to be probably the biggest topic's going to be talking about online services, just how that's panning out for at least the first week.
Yep.
But then they might improve it. They might
the week trial and
yeah.
That's where it's really important. Right now, it's like it really is the calm before the storm. It's that moment that everybody's been dreading for. We didn't want it to happen, and
yeah.
You know,
like,
we're just
we've got to shell out $30.
Yeah, exactly.
Like what everyone's saying, what a lot of people on my Twitter feed are saying is basically it's $30. Stop complaining. It's cheap. It's still $30. It's still a product they're selling us. We still have a right to be
for something
annoyed if it's not up to snuff.
Oh yeah, and I would like to add that this is the only time a game developer has forced in a payment model mid-cycle.
Yeah.
It's the first time they've done it mid-cycle, so we don't know how it's going to turn out.
Yeah, PlayStation introduced it with the launch of the PS4.
Exactly. Xbox 360 had it at launch.
But yeah, actually Xbox, the original Xbox didn't have it at launch though.
No.
So I guess you could count that. But that was at like the precipice of this whole thing.
The other thing is that Xbox wasn't very popular.
Yeah, I guess. Well,
and
no one knows.
nobody was really playing Xbox Live too much.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a different time. That was back in 2003.
Absolutely was.
It's not 2018. Like,
yeah, exactly. So it's just from the perspective of like, hey, you know,
like I was thinking about bringing some of this stuff up, but like some articles have come out, like whether they're, well, I don't know if they're true or not. That's why I didn't bother. But
I am leaving away from it.
Yes, so am I.
I am leaving away from it. I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to wait and judge it for myself.
Yeah,
and I will either yell or I'll be like, okay, you know, so.
I think the best case scenario is everyone puts down their $30. They get a few discounts on some games. They get the NES stuff, and they can put a couple of their cloud saves up to be safe.
Yep, absolutely.
And that's it.
Yep.
I think that's what it's going to turn out to be honest, as well. I don't think we're going to have too many problems. It's going to be a few issues I'm sure Nintendo can iron out down the track.
You know, we will see. The first 7 days will prove to be whether it'll be a nightmare or not.
Yeah, I think it's just the whole situation of it being 2018. No, sorry, late 2018. These other two services have been around for years at this point. Whether it's $80 or $30, which is, you know, quite reasonable. It's like $2 something a month here in Australia. But it's still just it's being it's being injected mid-cycle. That's why people are outraged. That's all it lays down to. Everybody's been playing Splatoon for free at this point. They don't want to pay. You know, it wouldn't matter if it was $30 or it was $80 exactly. You know, it's just people are mad and they don't want this to happen, and they don't want their time to be interfered with. Some people might not even be able to afford it. You know, I know that I'm not going to be able to afford the first month for a little bit. Yeah, Metadocs in the Discord community is like, oh, I've got enough money for Pokemon. It might have been Smash and online services. Yeah, it's like you know, that's still $30 towards a, like, you know, Dead Cells or one of these awesome games. You'll get a lot more enjoyment out of than just you can play online. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Anyway, let's leave it at that. Yeah, 100%. So we'll go into it next week. Absolutely. Yep. Guys, thank you very much for sticking around for this episode. It was a very disconjointed, sort of unorganised episode, but I hope it brought some enjoyment to your... Well, hopefully so, because that's honestly all we felt like doing today. It's just talking Nintendo, talking to each other. Yeah, that's what. After a big weekend, that's what you need. Yeah, just sort of disappointment as far as work goes. Really, yeah. Yeah, say no more on that. Alright guys, thank you very much for listening to episode 63 of The House of Mario. Bryce, where can they find you? They can find me at IV Revan. I was talking about your straight address. Where can they find you? Send hate mail to Bryce. No. You can find me at iDruby and the show at The House of Mario. We are a part of the 8-Bit Collective, 10 podcasts and 22 podcasters coming together to put some awesome content in your ears, including Dash Culture, which we will be on later this week. Listen to this smooth man with his like full straight line there with no mistakes. Oh, he just ruined it. Well done. Thanks, mate. If you enjoy the show, give us a rating on iTunes. It really helps with the algorithms, as well as SoundCloud. Leave us a follow on there. Big word. SoundCloud. No, algorithms. It's funny because
Put that on a t-shirt.
every
Algorithms.
That'd be a great t-shirt. Will you buy it? We'll make it.
Yeah. We'll put a cap on it and say the South of Mario. There you go.
It's like you can't use the word algorithms. That's copyrighted or something. It's probably some podcast called Algorithms talking about algorithms. I'll listen to that. I'll learn about the algorithms. And give us a follow on SoundCloud if you prefer to listen on to that. We've got playlists of all our interviews we've done, all the guests we've done, and a playlist with all of the episodes, as well as all of the Nintendo jukebox.
You lost it.
I lost it. See, you're putting me off, Bryce. You've just ruined it, mate.
See, look, I'm really focusing in on him now, all right? Keeping that sharpness up. I really need to keep him on his toes, because if I don't, who's going to do it?
Yeah, that's true.
You have to give him an adrenaline shot every day just to keep him peaked.
Well, give me a energy drink. I had half an energy drink on this morning. I was going
mad man.
I know, and I started getting the shake. So I'm like, no, I won't drink the rest of this.
Yep, that's what energy drinks do to you.
No, but they usually don't. They usually.
I know. Trust me, I am an energy drink advocate as well.
Advocate. They're so bad for you.
They are so bad for
but
you.
Every now and again, you want like something so salty. You want something so sugary. You're like, just give me just give me the dirtiest thing you've got in the can.
Give it to me.
put it into my veins.
Oh god.
It makes your blood feel so thick and like you just feel gross. Like, why do we do it to ourselves? You know,
your sweat would be smelling like guana.
Mm. What's your? I drink Mother. You drink Mother too, don't you?
Yeah.
I don't really touch any other ones.
Look, I like the occasional Red Bull.
Yeah, I don't want a Red Bull either. Yeah,
but that's occasional because they're friggin' expensive in comparison.
Yeah, the small little cans. You get the big cans, but they're expensive too, aren't they?
They are expensive.
Are they like $6 or something?
Well, I mean, look, you go down to the servo. Like, this is what this podcast has turned into.
Oh god, yeah.
Go down to the servo. You pay for $5 worth of fuel, right? And then you walk in there. You get $2 can of Mother. It's 600ml, and then you're good, right?
600ml of Mother.
But to get a 473ml of Red Bull, which I believe is like their largest size, is $5.
Mm.
It's not cheap because it's from America and the imports and all that stuff. You know, it's just how it is.
There you go.
There you go. There's your education on energy drinks if you ever wanted it.
They didn't.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
This week's Nintendo Jukebox. Let me pick up the mic. Hopefully I won't.
I'm trying to read it from here. I can't. I'm blind as hell.
You got the glasses on too.
Well, this is actually my second pair. They don't fit my head very well.
Didn't fit your head.
They don't fit my head very well. They're too small.
Too small. He's got a big head, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I've got a fucking big head.
That's where all that Xenoblade knowledge comes from.
Mate,
that big head that can't fit his glasses.
If you've ever seen that meme of Bobby Hill with a massive head, that's what I am. Alright?
Okay. This week's Nintendo Jukebox is actually a song from Old School Musical, the game I was talking about earlier, and it's based on the it's based on the Mega Man stage. What's it called?
Is it Megalonan or Megaloman?
Nan. Megaloman.
Megalonan. There you go.
So yeah, I assume I'm not a genius, Bryce, but I think that's meant to be a play on word of Mega Man.
I never would have guessed. I don't know. Is it something about how the stage looks and the lemons that blue thing is shooting on that album art?
Yeah.
Shit. I'm a genius. I've played a lot of Mega Man. Hundreds of thousands of hours. Call me Caleb Hard 42.
Hundreds of thousands, really? Nice.
Call me Caleb Hard 42.
All right. Yep. All right, guys. See you next week.
Look that up.